All right, guys, get in here. Happy Monday morning. Not, would we be starting out with each other if I didn't whack the camera stand? So, good morning. How are you doing? So, guys, I had the intention to go through the chart together yesterday. Let me turn this down a little bit. Yeah, I had the intention of doing this yesterday, but look, yesterday got away from me. I was catching up on some classwork. Life is just lifing yesterday. I was also spending some time, doing things for myself, for my own personal embodiment, for my own vision grounding, all these things, right? So, how are you? We are still well in the wake, lighting some Palo Santo here. Child, let me not burn myself, because I will do it, and you know this. Happy Monday morning. Thank you so much for being here. If you found me new here today, thank you for hanging out. Click like if something activates or inspires you, supports you, or aligns you. Okay. That just helps us to align with each other's energy, and I can tap in, and channel messages that are more uniquely supportive to us. Okay. I love you guys. If you're coming back, if you're a part of my tribe, I appreciate you being here. How are you feeling in your body? Like I was saying in the beginning, I did actually print out the new moon chart for us. This would have been peak yesterday, right? It was kind of a morning moon if you were Eastern time. It depends on where you were. But yeah, how are you doing? It's very interesting. Let's go ahead and tap into the new moon. Of course, in this space, you guys, we always hold space for our spirit team, our ancestors and guides who are connected to the highest and best good. We're always supporting intentions that are about health, wealth, abundance, prosperity, wisdom, self-expansion. That's the energies that we tap into over here. You guys know me as an Aquarius with lots of Aquarius placements. Your local, very Aquarian astrologer, okay? I'm going to encourage you to find your soul tribe, to tap in, to get connected spiritually and get in alignment, because this is such a great time. Excuse me, please forgive me, because I am so much better past a lot of the viral, all the sickness funk you guys know if you've been here. I am so sorry in advance. I still have the nagging, annoying, lingering cough. But I'm thankful for, not me saying I'm thankful for my body. Yes, I am in a Capricorn stellium, 6 planets in Capricorn. I do have the new moon chart specifically, because you can still look at this and tap into channeled energy. But I know that we had stuff that, okay. Also, hey, welcome to Aquarius season. Shout out Aquarius family. But if I start tapping into the Aquarius energy, excuse me, because yesterday, it's perfectly timed. I mean, isn't everything divinely timed? But yesterday we had a 6 planet stellium with this new moon in Capricorn. But you notice these planets here, especially the moon, because she a mover and a shaker. She's going to flow on. The moon, the sun. We had, obviously, Pluto has been holding it down in Aquarius. We're now at the 3rd degree, right? We had Venus already in Aquarius, and we talked about how they were kind of, Pluto, again, if you've been here long enough, you've heard me say Pluto trumps the board, okay? No pun intended. But Venus kind of led the way here and was already in Aquarius. But we did have 6 planets total in a Capricorn stellium yesterday. Now, if you're viewing this today, it's Monday morning here on the East Coast. We now have 3 planets in Aquarius, and I love that for us. But again, I'm going to get tarrying into the Aquarius frequency. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's tap into what the new moon in Capricorn. Okay, mind you, it depends on where you were, of course. How, was it a morning new moon? Was it a midnight new moon? You know what I'm saying? We're still well in the wake of kind of this 24-hour period with new moons, I feel. When we flow in the moon cycles, I really feel that we kind of have this juicy energy, like 24 hours leading up to a new moon. The day before, I feel like in my experience of connecting with people who have a solidified like spiritual practice, you know, they're doing cleansing, banishing, and release. Of course, that's going to be amplified because you're actually closing out that last 13th moon lunar cycle, right? And then you come into this 24-hour period, and then you kind of lead up into having like this arc. Then your moon kind of peaks in the energy, and then you have like, it's kind of like these 24 hours before and after. So first of all, don't ever feel like you're late, because you're not. You're divinely on time. And secondly, we're still definitely feeling that Capricorn stellium energy. Although I will say, I know Aquarius got to be zinging us, because we already have Venus in Aquarius, and we've had Pluto in Aquarius. As a reflection on Capricorn season, Capricorn season, we were feeling into embodiment. Still definitely working through January and the wintering. We're still in there, okay, mind you. We've not really, it feels like we're still embodying the vision. We got to write embodiment, you guys, on our chart. Absolutely. Spirit said that's where we start. Yes, we do. And it was embodiment, still is, but it was like embodiment boom in this new moon times 6. I do really, hey, shout out if you're new here. I'm always going to let you know, I don't set the intention to hold this space to like garner any type of monetization. It's really just a spiritual space where me and my soul family hang out. You're welcome to be here. Thank you if you're new here. We walk through the wheel of the year, very pagan, very earth-based, very witchy, very magical over here. Okay. Look, I know we still got there's synchronicity to be found in the Gregorian calendar, but in returning and rooting back into nature, hello, Spirit says, right, rooting down. I'm hearing, know your roots, okay? That's giving. Okay, I'm seeing a pine tree. Pine could be an important plant ally. I meant to write pine tree, but not me. Automatic writing here, writing pine spirit. And knowing your roots, right? Because we are going into big times of activation. Just as a quick review and a reminder, if you're new here, but if you're not, you already know, okay? Saturn has been in this last decan. Saturn is completing his journey that takes him about 29 and a half years to complete. So this is not regular completion. This is not regular new beginnings. It's like amplified to the umpteenth degree, you guys. I would dare say that intentions you set right now will change the trajectory of all of your long-term goals. All of them. This is us getting prepared. I'm seeing, you know how we keep talking about the train station and all of these references, Harry Potter, you got to have faith. You're going through, this is a 1 and a 0 year. The magician does a spell. The fool jumps on his train to catch his new beginning. 9 3/4 was a magical door. You know, you would have missed the whole trajectory of the new timeline if you didn't have faith. We've been channeling all these things, you know, the very 3 of Wands, your ships are coming in, this type of energy. Saturn is definitely checking us, though, on our emotional maturity homework. That's what I'm hearing. You're going to get checked on that. Okay? Emotional, maturity, homework. This would be like taking an exam, right? Because I'm still channeling off all that Capricorn stellium energy. So what do you have with a lot of planets? You have a lot of Saturn when you have a lot of planets in Capricorn. You understand? Saturn rules Capricorn. Saturn is the lord of karma and time. Saturn is the metaphorical gatekeeper. Okay, so what's going to happen is when you have all of these planets in Saturn, they're going through, let's say the gate is Pluto and Aquarius. We're about to kind of do, I don't know, I'm hearing check your passport. Okay, maybe someone could be traveling. That could be a confirmation for you. Moving, traveling, you have big goals. Someone wants to travel to you. You want to travel to someone, a job. I don't know. I'm hearing being taken out of an element. And that could be a metaphor. It doesn't have to be literal. This could be spiritual traveling, astral traveling, traveling upward in timelines to a new dimensionality that you've never experienced before. It could be any of these things. But listen, embodiment, rooting down, know your roots, emotional maturity, homework. Yes. And then, of course, we know that I want to say in less than 10 days. Is it the 26th? Right at the end of January, we're going to have Neptune move into Aries. That's going to be a huge spiritual rebirth. A huge spiritual rebirth. We have big opening heart chakra. You know, we view that as like a galactic gateway and portal. I think Saturn would be handing out new keys, so to speak, Venus and Aquarius, but then the higher octave of Venus is Neptune. Venus and Aquarius, and then soon Neptune to shift in Aries. That's huge. That's like a whole new spiritual, visual, astral, other dimensionality type of rebirth of understanding. What would you be understanding? Well, Neptune has been in Pisces for like, what's it like, 14 years, 12, 14 years? A huge pocket of you doing spiritual work with yourself, you understanding what dreams do I dream, you understanding what dissolutions and projected fears cause you to block yourself from embodying a whole new way of being, okay? Rooting down, knowing your roots in the pine tree spirit, what I'm getting, it really makes me think of, you can't, I don't know, it's giving like you can't understand where you're going if you don't embrace where you come from. I'm also tapping into something that's like, if we don't learn about history, it's doomed to repeat itself. Ooh, that could be very applicable in a lot of different ways. Knowing your roots is giving very, when we talk about embodiment, when we had 6 different planets in Saturn, ancestral gatekeepers, it's giving like a different level of unlocking things from your DNA. You could have had a big revolution with your health in the year of 9 in Virgo. We talked about 6th house. We talked about all those things. And now, whether it's spiritual health, which affects your mental, emotional, and physical health. Maybe you focused on mental health. Maybe it was physical for you. I personally believe that with a lot of different strains of a lot of things going on, nothing is accidental. A lot of things were going on in a lot of people's bodies because everything is connected. So this level of embodiment is almost like unlocking things and then leading us to these spiritual epiphanies. I'm going to write down unlocking. I'm going to write down new keys. Aquarius, I'm sorry, Uranus is still down here in Taurus too. You know, this is giving like, I'm seeing on a really like 3D, like dimensional physicality plane type of level, like liquidating assets to experience more freedom so that you can rebirth yourself into these new timelines, buying a new house, selling a house, downsizing, changing the entire way that you work. That's going to happen anyway for a lot of people when Uranus moves into Gemini. But all of this is dependent upon the work that you've done in the roots. You know what I'm saying? Imagine with me, again, we love to talk about those gorgeous southern mossy oaks, but maybe you imagine a different tree. Of course, we're going to get all the tree spirits because we're channeling Capricorn stellium energy, oak tree, a willow tree, whatever you might imagine, right? I love to think of the pine, though. The pine is one of the most flexible trees. It has great roots, but it can really flex in a storm, and it grows really, 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 really tall. So that's a different level of perspective. Okay, that's a different level of like imagine reorienting yourself, but as the roots grow stronger and the tree grows taller, what happens is you get a higher perspective. Now I'm seeing the Ten of Pentacles and how it's so perfect. The Ten of Pentacles is really a tree of life card when you think about it in terms of the Kabbalah, right? So in order to really reach up and channel down from all of those supernal triangles, you have to have good roots. You have to have good roots. And when I think about embodiment, I think about the body. I think about if you're running, if you're lifting weights, if you're training for something, if you don't have the core stability and you don't have the leg strength to root down, you're not going to be able to do other things with your upper body, right? So I'm seeing reorienting yourself, but it's in a whole new way. Because imagine, right, if you go up on a level of a hill, you see higher. If you go up on a level of another hill, you see higher, right? But that allows you to align yourself differently. So you could, and I feel like when I keep saying you see higher, it makes me think about how Neptune is going to be reborn, so to speak, into a whole new cycle, guys, not just restarting a cycle in Aries after 12, 14, whatever it is, years in Pisces, in the liquidation, in the dissolution, in the letting go, in the washing out. Remember how we kept talking about going under the water one more time, going under the water one more time. Now, when we come back up, I'm seeing very Neo style, like them being, all the things being pulled out of them, and raising up out of that vat and just really rubbing their eyes clean for the first time. I'm seeing like a baby being born. I'm seeing like someone walking out of the ocean and all of that salt water just falling off of their body. It's really a whole different level of rebirth. And when you have that different level, especially when you've been doing your Saturnian homework, multiple years, multiple cycles, multiple dark nights of the soul, but you showed up. You kept reaching your roots deeper. You kept reaching your roots deeper, right? When you have a strong foundation, you're going to be able to unlock different levels of things. When we talk about that tree of life, when we talk about the Ten of Pentacles, right? You're going to be able, I'm seeing also the trees like growing branches in new directions, right? That gives me the energy of being able to connect to all kinds of different timelines that are going to take you in very different directions, but it's long term, it's sustainable, okay? I want to say, what's a good word? Rebuilding, new foundations. I would say rebuilding, restructuring. New foundations. I really don't want you to limit yourself with this, because the vision work that we're doing now, the realignment work that we're doing now, the things that we are unlocking in our body, It's interesting. We have 8 plus 2, 8 plus 2. So we've got 10s there. We've got completion energy there. Completion energy, 10s, closing out to start anew at a different level of emotional maturity. That's very powerful. I'm writing dissolution. It's so important to pay attention right now, because you're going to see signs and synchronicities. You're going to see behavior patterns. You're going to see repetitive confirmation of things that cannot stay. It's like detaching with compassion at an all-time high, because there's so much renewal energy available right now. And in the next coming weeks, the closer we get to entering the eclipse pockets, and that'll be the final time that we will work with that Pisces energy, right? In the North Node. It gives this very come on, come on. We've been through these initiations so many times. This is like the culmination of such a peak of the initiation. You got to create the thing. You got to hold space for the vision. Are you writing it down? Are you doing vision boards? Or perhaps it's already so strong within you that you know that the seeds have been planted. And when I think of seeds, I think of Ace of Pentacles. And then I think of, do you remember in collective videos, if you've been here for a while, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. Remember we were channeling this. This was back when Jupiter was in Gemini, before Jupiter shifted into Cancer. And we were talking about how Uranus was going to complete the journey in Taurus and then also go into Gemini, and how Jupiter had given us all these blessings of abundant gifts in the waters, in the DNA, okay, and that they would be yet to be unpacked. Now, I feel like when Uranus shifts into Gemini, it's going to be it's time to unpack the gifts, open up your presents, right? These are going to be new neuron pathways. This is the feeling of I've studied something my whole life and now it unlocks and I see it so clearly. I think it's very important to understand with embodiment of activations, embodiment of spiritual vision, embodiment of unpacking all these divinely inherited gifts from our DNA, from our spiritual team, from our ancestors. There's a lot of ancestral energy too. I'm going to write ancestors here too, okay? Both galactic and earthbound, because we are engaging in the Aquarius, but also still the Capricorn, okay? So you're talking about things that will be materializing from your visions that will change your life for years and years out. You know what I'm saying? But what that also tells us, though, is that in the personal work that I do, because definitely feel free to check out my website, my email, all those details are found on my YouTube page. I have a very active Facebook business page. Find me on the socials, what have you. Send me an email, because I do personal one-on-one work with astrology and reading and teaching birth charts and all these things, right? But I'm saying, I don't know, this is a different level. This is a different level of having a vision. This is I've studied for something for a decade and now I'm ready to teach. This is I've put off completing the degree for years and now I'm ready for that next level. This is I have an intention to be more free in my career, to change my entire lifestyle. I don't even want to live in this city anymore. This can be giving a lot of different things, right? There is a lot of frequency here, okay, with cutting distractions, with being very focused, with putting forth consistent effortness. Y'all, that is not a word. Consistency, diligence, okay? This will be like Saturn getting ready to rebirth in Aries after 29 and a half, being I know you're not going to graduate. Guys, can I speak today? The energy is very palpable, okay? Even though it's so earthy and watery, there's that zing of Aquarius in the air already, okay? we have to evaluate relationships. We have to evaluate who is speaking life or either draining life from our visions, from our long-term goals. And I know that we talk about this stuff a lot, but this is just like amplified to such a huge shift of a degree. And you look out in the collective and you see everything that's happening. We are in a year of the 10 of the wheel. It's going to be spinning very fast, but it's going to be a matter of, the mage, the magician, the fool. Where do you jump with it? How do you channel it down like the magician does? Okay. But in order to do that, we've got to be letting go of things that are just not, they're just not sustainable ways of life, ways of spending money, even evaluating in a certain level of long-term sustainability. How is it that I do my work? I need to get educated and understand the vision of how my career, things are going to start moving very quickly and changing very fast. And in fact, if you're paying attention, they already are. It's giving the graduation of like all graduations. Right? Okay, imagine you're doing a journey with Saturn. He's the life coach. He's that fatherly, maternal energy. He's saying, this hurts me more than it hurts you. We've got to learn this lesson. Okay, do you really want to get back on that karmic circus wheel ride once again in that relationship with that toxic family member? Are we really going to do that? Okay, not only have we been through a journey for a few years, we have been through 29 and a half years. Perhaps even for you, it's one Saturn return, maybe it's two. And you're like, we got to nail this down. We got to get these boundaries right. You know what? Boundaries is such a huge word, because how are you going to sustain the garden and the seeds that are ready to start coming forth if you don't have good boundaries there? Okay. So what do we have? We have Saturn influence, emotional maturity. Saturn is going to be checking everybody going through this gateway. And again, it's like you cannot collect $200. You can't pass go. You have to go through this veil with Pluto and Aquarius going into Aquarius territory. It's already begun. It started today, the first day of Aquarius season. So now Saturn is going to be checking everyone before he gets ready to go and start his new journey with Aries. And Neptune soon, less than 10 days, 9 days, 8 days, I'm not sure exactly. Neptune will go into Aries. And that's that I am that I am. Aries, high vibrational, is like the spiritual warrior, the clarity of the upper gateways of the chakras in the stellar realms. Things are going to be coming down, and it's almost like in order to get your cup to be poured down in, you have to go through this passageway. All the planets are going to be doing it too here. This will also be preparing us, this work that we're doing right now, this vision that we're doing right now, this clarity, the things that we've been shown that we need to be paying attention to. Where are the patterns, right? Aquarius is always going to tell you to observe the repetitive patterns. Okay? We have to understand what we're connecting to. Energetically, it's always first. And then you will start to see it as a reflection in your reality of things that they can't come with you through this veil. They can't. What type of, okay, what do we have? Of course, we can see the conjunction, all right, in this new moon. Conjunction is just like, hey, we're besties. We're all going to squeeze in really tight. We're going to pull our desks together. We're going to do homework together. So a conjunction here, you see we had the new moon at this 28th degree. Then we also had Mars 2 degrees away, Venus 2 degrees away. And then we have Pluto. Pluto a little bit farther out, right? Mercury's in there. You got to see certain patterns. I'm hearing you got to call a spade, okay? And what have these oaks? What have these pines? What have these? We've got emotional maturity well-rooted. We've got wisdom that's ready to be practiced in action. The hermit taught us that, right? That's well-rooted too. But the pine tree is giving you a whole different, a higher tier, an ascension level up, a different way of looking at conditioning, okay? Looking at, I don't know, it's patterns. I'm telling you, it's patterns. How are you connecting with people? What is it that you value? What are you doing with your tangible resources, right? 10 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, because Spirit, your ancestors and team are wanting to bring things down for you to embody, but it's like trying to pour into a vessel that still has cracks in the bottoms. We can't. We got to do that progressive evolutionary work that Aquarius is going to be checking us at the gate here, checking us at the train station. It's like your ticket going through this level of embodiment and this new vision. Your ticket is, did you do the emotional and spiritual maturity homework? Did you do that? Because it will be showing. And what's going to happen is our collective reality will start mirroring those vibrations back to us to say, is this what you really want? Because I just want to make sure, right? What else do we have? Chiron is not on here, but I think we had a scare. A scare. Ooh, child. A square to Chiron, I think we did. Yeah. We've already talked about Uranus. Uranus is in a trine. It's very helpful to us. And then it's pulling in on this sextile, this Saturn and Neptune. You see that? You see how we got the gang up here? And then we got, boom, Saturn and Neptune. Boom. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And then where are we going? With the help of this trine. A trine is a triangle. It's very supportive. Okay, I got you on the base. Cool, I got you on the base. Let's come together at the peak, right? It's funny we're talking about trines because we were talking about 10 of Pentacles with the supernal triangles. That's a fancy way of saying that the higher tiers of reality that we don't always see are pouring down into us at all times. And then Malkut at the bottom of the tree of life. If that zings you, I encourage you to go study the 10 of Pentacles. Go study the Tree of Life. You don't necessarily have to prescribe to that set of beliefs. It's not anything like that. I'm saying go study it. Malkut is the manifestation in the physical kingdom, right? Okay, so this is what it's coming down to in this embodiment. So we did engage part of that trine. We were talking about, again, Uranus and Taurus. It gives like the ways that you got stuck into maybe survival or fight or flight. Everything is bringing you back. Come back to the present. Come back to the present. We need new patterns. We've got to establish new, daily routines, new habits. We have to, because that's what makes things. Now, again, let me take it back and say a 1 year, a 0 year, okay, 10 years just as much about completion as it is about new beginnings. However, a 1 year and a 0, that's seed planting. That's seed planting. You understand? This is not a year we're going to see everything blossom up. Well, I will say, I wouldn't be surprised if you have moments of like this crazy divine synchronicity or something just, whoa, or you get some kind of windfall unexpectedly. It could be, because that's just the type of energy of magic, of frequency, of elevation that we have access to. Now, let me tell you something. If you're tempted to be like, oh, I don't see none of that, it's very negative, you need to hone in the scope and the perspective. What's influencing that, okay? Because propaganda is going to be like crazy. It's going to be driving crazy. This makes me think of different things that are projected out on mass media. And then you actually see the flip side of what people are recording with their actual cameras. And it makes me think of an article that a beautiful person wrote about, I'm actually in this city, and let me tell you how it's going down. It's amazing. We're empowered. Are there some bad things happening? Sure. That is the nature of manifesting a soul to, your soul manifesting in this type of incarnation. You are going to see those things. That's the polarity. That's the duality. But the propaganda will be the gag. Are you going to get pulled down? We got to pull them down because there is so much potential. We got to, what's the next thing on the agenda to pull them down? Okay. But your seeds aren't going to grow. You're not going to be able to like water your seeds if that's the type of perspective. I'll always take an aside to say, understanding propaganda that's influencing your mind, whether it's what you see, what you read, who you chilling with at the water cooler, are people speaking life into you in your circles? Are you aligning with the type of people that are building and committing to what you're building and committing to? That might be an invitation, right? Saturn and Neptune are engaged in the sextile. Saturn and Neptune we're part of some of those. We're influencing some of the stuff that was in conjunction here. Okay, so what that's saying is you need to reflect on some things that are not influencing the new timelines. What happens if we suffocate people who dream and who write and who make art and who write material to teach next generations of spiritual people, children who are learning, etc., etc.? We need that. It's like the Mirakai, the Mirakesh that rises up from the bottom. It's that supernal triangle in the Ten of Pentacles birthing down. It's that embodiment. That's what we're talking about. We need you to teach the thing. We need you to be inspired and write the thing. But do you understand how stuff like propaganda... I need you to understand also, let's get real Aquarius, because mind you, today's chart, although we're reflecting on the new moon chart here, today's chart is seeing us already having planets having moved in, including the sun, into Aquarius. So what you can know and definitely rely on is that you're being refreshed, you're being aligned, you're being healed, you're being put back on the right path. It's going to be a mad energy pull, though, on this wheel year that's spinning. Okay, so what are you grabbing onto and what are you letting take you? Is it swirling you back to the bottom or is it pulling you up to the top? You know what I'm saying? Because it can be real easy to forget what you're trying to be rooted into. And then what's going to happen is you're going to lose that higher perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine if like Einstein or Tesla, or we could insert so many names, and not just quantum physics and not just science, but in all different areas where souls in our collective have chosen an incarnation to inspire humanity. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if they were just like, well, I can't. Well, everything's negative. I mean, it's a matter of choosing your perspective. Okay. And then also Aquarius frequency too is going to be like, yes, we're rooted and grounded and we're embodying, but then what is the community, whether it's online, whether it's your soul family and your tribe, whether it's people that you connect to in your brick and mortar areas as well. How do they influence your vision? And is it for the best and highest good? Like get real on that. Because the energy vamping, I guarantee you, in media, in propaganda, in storylines that are pitched to you, because I'm telling you, if you're not there, you're not seeing the firsthand perspective. And I encourage you to challenge yourself, right, in the perspective that you're choosing. Because that influences what you're seeing, what's pouring into you, who you're connected to. They influence you on a literal frequency level in your emotions and your body, what's being triggered. Are things triggering you from an old paradigm? Do you surround yourself with people who are trying to evolve? Do you have wolves around you that are like in sheep's clothing? Okay, what isolating things that keep you stuck in a body of fear? I'm telling you, coming off a Capricorn Stellium new moon, when we are rebirthing an amalgamation of timelines like this, again, there's no astrology comparable like right now for hundreds of years back, I mean, you don't have to look far to see how everyone's talking about this. Don't fall for the bait and switch of you only going to see what I want you to see. That's not where you want to be right now. And also you need to understand that things like Piscean things, that's media, that's movies, that's storytelling, that's tapping into unconscious fears, that's it's almost like people trying to throw hooks. Again, we got to pull them down and keep them on a fear-based level. However, you can come into harmony with what your higher self and your spirit team and your spiritual guides and your soul family are saying. Hey, look. Okay, Uranus and Taurus, very like, but look over here. Okay, right? We are anchoring, we are grounding, we are bringing things in to become manifest. And then we have things coming in later too, like in the summer, Jupiter going into Leo, right? The nodes changing into Aquarius. There's a lot of things coming, and it's like, man, don't get caught. I'm telling you, don't get caught on the wrong train, rocketing off into some other karmic carousel circus ride. Don't do that. You can claim that you want to walk into your dharmic path. Or if you don't get down with like karma and dharma, Spirit is saying we're going to write down dharma. I'm writing it down. Would you say it like this? I don't know. Dharmic path. Okay. Again, Uranus and Taurus engaging in this trine. What degree are we at with it? Still at the 27th degree. Uranus and Taurus. I think Uranus will shift into Gemini like later in April. So we have time to say the bait and switch, the gag, the dying black magic spell, the inverted, the upside down, if you will, whatever, is to get you to look over here. Shadow energy of the magician, right? Shadow energy of the fool, shadow energy of the wheel. Let me just slingshot you all the way over here, vamp on the energetic vibrations that you had really done all those work to raise yourself up to a different tier of evolution. And let me just put like a fisher, Pisces fishing energy, right? Let me hook you so I can pull you back down. But that's not actually reality. The reality is what is being created by your perspective. So again, it's so important being in the body right now. Because you got to pull, just like a hook is trying to pull you down into shame, into guilt, into fear, into anxiety, into emotional manipulation, gaslighting the fuck out of you. Okay, at the same time, the light wants you to be anchored up here, right? And then pulling that light down and being embodied in the present moment. What are the asteroids doing for us in this new moon chart? I think we had, I think it was, let me write this down for you guys in case you want to learn more about it. The sun and I think the moon and the moon, was it a conjunction? Conjunct Astrea. I love that. Doesn't it just sound like some kind of goddess from an 80s movie? Is it Astrea? Okay. I'm writing this down here. I'll take a pic. I always take, when we do this, I'll take a picture and share it if you want to come back to it. The sun and the moon in conjunction with the asteroid. Astrea. Okay. That's purity. That's justice. It's a beautiful story. If you've never read about Astrea, I encourage you to do that. Very Aquarian vibration. But Astrea, her whole story was like, she was one of the last divine beings. Maybe you imagine her as being Fae or some sort of angelic embodiment. When I think of Astrea, I always see, oh, what's her name from The Lord of the Rings? But that's just me. So Astrea was like, she reminds me also of Guan Yin. Very similar energy, right? Guan Yin, however you want to say that. She chose to, okay, yes, The Lord of the Rings. Dang, why am I blanking on the name? I'm so sorry. Wow, I'm totally blanking on it. But listen, you know how she was like, it is mine to give as I will. And he was like, you cannot give this to me. Okay, so Astrea, purity, justice, a divine, beautiful being. I always saw it as being this beautiful, elevated fae, elevated angelic frequency, right? She chose to stay kind of like in the earth realms in the form of being with the humans. And this was like these stories being told during the Dark Ages, right? And the whole story with Astrea was like all these other divine beings had left, right? And they were just like, LOL, Earth is ghetto. This consciousness is way too low. And I just can't with it. I literally can't. And they all left, right? But you see how it's very Kuan Yin. Okay. So she stayed, but then it kind of goes on to like the level of consciousness is devolved to a point where she was like, I can't do this with the war and the hate and with the rage. And, you know, when we think about Estrella, it kind of gives this energy of like an abandonment wound. You know what I'm talking about? It almost makes you reflect on like things that you have just put up with for way too fucking long, to be quite honest about it. But then it also gives this energy of like a vibration of a return, but it's like a return to yourself. And then it makes me think about how we talk so much about the lantern in the 9-year with the hermit, calling the light back, calling it back, calling it back. I'm hearing that song, you guys. What is it? People use it on reels all the time. And it's like falling in love again and again, falling in love again. You know what I'm talking about? And it's coming back. I'm hearing that song too. Another version of me, I was in it. Whoa, dun, 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 something beginnings. You know what I'm talking about? And then I'm hearing falling in love again and again. It's like coming back to yourself. It's collective consciousness doing this whole whoosh, this rocketing, but then coming back down. You understand? That's how Kundalini rising is supposed to work. You do go up to a height of a place and you go, oh my gosh, whoosh, and then there's this washout. There's the ocean wave pulling back. I'm seeing the person again walking out of the waters covered in salt water because they came back, right? That's the grounding, right? It's a divine Christed consciousness, maybe divine beings, but in the form of these galactic gateways that we have in our heart chakras. It's a return. Okay, so it's huge. There was Pluto having a conjunction with Atlantis, which is whoa. Pluto having a conjunction with Atlantis, and then Pluto being in Aquarius, and then all these planets are going to go through that gateway. Do you see the level of vision that you are able to tap into right now? And then another thing, and I think this will kind of be like our last note, is that all of these planets are personal. And you know what that makes me think of? It gives me this energy of like, oh, this time is personal. Oh, this time I'm coming back and I'm bringing all this light into my body and my ancestors and this Atlantean frequency. We came past, in the beginning of January, we have all this beautiful Sirius Stargate portals energy. We have this conjunction with Atlantis, and it's like, this time it is so personal. Remember in a collective, we were talking about the Lemurian stones, and I still have mine sitting up here, and how it's like your ancestors. I'm hearing that, ooh, I've been waiting for this. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I've been waiting for this. Okay. And it's like, boom. We have all of this personal energy just in our bodies. What do we have? We have all of this earth in the chart. We have all this water in the chart, right? But I do love Uranus and Taurus holding it down for us. And then, of course, we have Aquarius energy in the chart, which is the hidden water bear. But what I'm saying is this is your body. It's all the minerals and your connection to earth and your earth star chakra, but also, boom, all the way up to your stellar gateway. Okay. This time is personal. And the energy that is stirring in the DNA in your waters, and the DNA in your bodies and the minerals. Okay. I'm hearing again from the Matrix, like what that open your mind. It's like, oh, I took the pill and I'm so locked in, and we are all open. Okay. I love that. So it's really powerful. On the note of opening your mind, I'm going to read a Sabian symbol and a Star Sparks degree. If you're curious about what those are, it's very fascinating in relation to astrology. Go check out and learn about Sabian symbols. Read about Star Sparks. They're amazing. They're like these channeled visions in relation to all the degree points. So let me read. It's a Sabian symbol called a woman reading tea leaves. Okay, it says, this degree is about the ability to see the signature of hidden meaning in every occurrence drawing one's attention. Do you see that? really gleaning what gets your energy, what is in your perspective, what is drawing your attention. It's a degree that evokes the ability to see everything, the signature of deeper realities, the opening of your clairvoyance. When media, okay, so I'm reading, someone had commented on this star spark, and they said, when media is being manipulated and a group mind becomes like a collective spell, you must cultivate the ability to see beyond your small self, the little I, right? Your beliefs, fears, and fantasies. You must learn to read the room and see beyond the veil. And who's going to be taking us through that? Pluto in this Aquarius season is going to be huge about, holy shit, I see it all differently now, right? See beyond the veil. Your voice, your higher self, your team and spirit, your evolution of that personal I am crown chakra. This will become the anchor, because the world is going to get more chaotic. What happens? We got to spin up. We got to rev up in a 10-year. I'm seeing like, but I'm also for some reason seeing the rings of Jupiter. I don't know. I mean, or so would it be Saturn? There's some kind of spinning, and I'm seeing rings, and it's like we got to pass. We got to pass through, and everything's spinning so fast, but that's how we get to some sort of collective tipping point. That's very interesting. Unlocking new keys. The Star Sparks degree is titled An Architect Carefully Surveying Old Ruins. Wow. This speaks to the cyclical experience of civilizations rising and falling, being at the top of supremacy and then falling down in inferiority. Like the Wheel of Fortune card, the only constant is change. The moment you try to stop changing or be in control of what cannot be controlled, this is when the wheel will spin backwards in a direction we were trying to avoid. When it comes to civilizations, this degree reminds us that a falsehood, corruption, distortion of every kind is a crux point. It is easy to say, wow, we have made the world such a mess. And when we look at the mess, we become cynical, skeptical, full of doubt, right? But that's where they want you to be hooked down at, okay? The medicinal movement is to uncover and recover vision, retrace a lost track. Remember an ancient path that was obvious at one point, but it's been covered, right? I dare say the whole age of Pisces by all these shadows of doubt and illusion. If we want to see and create the positive, we must strip away the negative that obscures our vision. Wow. Oh, you know what I'm going to write too? As within, because it has to be said when we talk about this level of embodiment, as within, so without. I would definitely encourage you to be deeply rooted in your vision work, in your meditation journeys and your spiritual journeys, because that's the work that is anchoring you in the midst of all this chaos, right? Whoa. That was powerful. Let's open the Metamuse Tarot, you guys. I love this tarot. You can get it on Etsy. It's really amazing. I think it's still available, honestly. Wow, when I flopped, okay, that's crazy. I flopped open the deck the way that it fell open in my hands. Ooh, it's the star on the bottom. I did see the 10 of Pentacles, though. That's crazy when the universe winks back at you like that. Look at that. We have the star right on the bottom of the deck as soon as we open it up. That's refreshing, cleansing waters. Where are those waters flowing from? All this Piscean work, all the work of the water trines. Water teaches us to release control. Aquarius teaches us compassionate detachment. Okay? Vision. Not just the vision. Spirit is saying, like, not just the vision of a pine tree, but higher than that. Outside of the atmosphere, bigger, cosmic, galactic. When I think about Aquarius vision work, I think about, like, you know those videos that'll show you, you are here. And it's like Earth, and then it keeps backing you out through the planets, backing you out through the Milky Way, backing you out there, and you're like, whoa, whoa. Right? The Aquarius card We're in the age of Aquarius. Pluto's in Aquarius for a long time now. It's like a changing of an entire aeon type card. You know, Aleister Crowley always said in his book of law, right, that the star card was every man and woman is a star. It's very fascinating to consider that in a metaphor for your own spirituality, right? But the star card also reminds us, if you look at the tree of life, the star card, where it's located, makes this connection and flows down to the card that's associated with the sun. And then if you move down past the sun through the moon, you get to Malkuth, the manifestation in the kingdom. So there's some sort of window that's being opened to us right now. And it's allowing us to transmit a different level of light. Light actually equals absorbed photonic energy in your body. Remember how we talk about it's time to unpack the gifts, the 10 of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the flowing down. There's a window opening. Okay, so what is being illuminated to you right now? The Aquarius energy will encourage you to embrace your individuality, to think about how you're unique. Okay, but to then also bring that down into your community, into your spiritual group, into what you do in your life every single day. I have like a file folder where I save notes on cards, and I was just looking at the star. I can't believe we pulled the deck right out and the star was on the bottom. Let me read you these notes, because mind you, the star comes after the tower, okay? The tower is what precedes the star, okay? So the star suggests you've endured life's challenges and you have been through a difficult time, but you're now open to following the dreams and the things that inspire you. And this is not just like a cat on a poster type deal. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime shot. Your ability to let go of difficult times, has been and is being strengthened by the contact you have with your true self, your higher self during difficult times. That's exactly what we were just talking about. Hatred, envy, bitterness, and revenge have burned themselves. That happened in the tower. It's happening now. I know you see it. But they will no longer shadow the life you're building or get in the way of your potential for future happiness. You are now able to practice forgiveness for yourself and others so you can embrace new opportunities. The transition between the tower and the star, right? It's about releasing trauma, doing the shadow work, letting go of that white knuckle grip we always talk about, and coming back to the present moment. It's a state of divine flow, right? I'm being here. I'm accepting. I'm not struggling. Okay? It's releasing attachments. And it's an interesting juxtaposition to think about having a bunch of Capricorn energy in a new moon chart, because that's the devil card. And that is the things that we may not be seeing clearly that are trapping us, that we have bonds that have long worn out their time, that have long become stagnant, and they have to be released, right? Old habitual ways, old limitations, self-limiting beliefs, repatterning the way that you think. Well, we were saying, open your mind, right? What do you believe that you're attached to? What are the attitudes that you're attached to? Who told you have? Not us. We're literally talking about it. It's coming out in the tarot cards, you guys. Do you see the King of Wands? The creative vision embodied here. This ain't my first rodeo. I'm hearing lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And I'm seeing, what is the scene? Is it the Wizard of Oz? And they put this, did they put the robe on the lion, the cowardly lion? Because I'm seeing that it's all about courage. Okay, what are the old mental patterns that kept you rooted in fear? Because we got to get rid of that, okay? We want to be filled by the renewing of our minds through this Aquarius energy. We're about to walk through this veil. We're already walking through it because the sun is in Aquarius today. Inspiration is coming through. Joy is coming through. Creative vision is coming through. What are your blockages there? Okay, that keep you rooted in fear and cowardice. Okay. You see that? Mental entrapment, self-limiting beliefs, anxiety. But you realize that you're the one trapping yourself, okay? Because who told you you had to be that? Who told you to believe that? You can reprogram your mind. So it's a lot of energy of not losing hope, of understanding you're exactly where you need to be. That saying, dream big, and sitting down and doing the vision work. Of course, making sure it's in alignment with your highest and best good and the highest and best good of the collective. You have to let these old patterns go. It's not just a corny thing. Don't be desensitized, because then you're falling under that dark black magic spell, that inversion of Saturn, and that's dying. You are a reflection of divine energy. Okay, so what are you overcoming? And a lot of it, I guarantee you, is going to be mental. We have big outer planets. Pluto's already in Aquarius, an air sign. Uranus, by the springtime, after the equinox and later in April, will be in an air sign. Okay? Later in the summer, our North Node will shift into an air sign. So it's like you got to conquer the blockages, the self-limiting beliefs, the trauma that keeps telling you that your brain has to be programmed a certain way, because it doesn't. It's like your lack of belief, your lack of faith. You are your own worst enemy if you allow it to be that way. Because this is kind of how I feel like you're being poured into. This is up here in the crown. This also gives me like exalted frequencies of the fire signs, the exalted higher frequency of vibration of Sagittarius, the truth and the belief, the alignment, you know. Leo, the willingness to have the heart of a child, to be strong and know who you are. Aries, that I am chakra, the spiritual warrior. This is the energy that I'm getting. Wow. Big cards for sure. Okay, guys, this is where I'm going to leave it. I love and appreciate you for being here and sharing the new moon energy with me. I look forward to checking back in with you guys soon, okay? Love you. Talk to you later, okay? Take good care. Bye.